Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. When Gary got back to his house, he opened the trunk and took Alyssa's bag of clothes out. She had shown him that he shouldn't leave them in the car overnight because she didn't want them to get wet. Instead, he put them next to his own clothes instead. But then he had a thought. If he put them all in that little bag, they would get all wrinkled. That wouldn't be good for her. He might want to take them out and hang them on a chair. The next morning, he could put them back in the bag and bring them to the cleaners in much better shape. He smiled as he dumped the bag out and started putting the things inside on the chair. There was first a brown skirt. He put it on the arm of the chair and reached into the bag for the next piece of clothing. It was light blue and had a V-shaped cutout in the front, a very nice sweater, even a soft, silky blouse. Well, here goes my first cross-dressing experience, he thought. It didn't take him long to try everything on. As he had expected, the silk felt wonderful. He was now drawn to the skirt. He put his foot in it and closed the back. He then took the sweater. He knew that the blue didn't go at all with the brown, but who cares? He pulled it over his head and took a deep breath. Gary went to his room and stood in front of the full-length mirror. He saw himself in the mirror wearing a skirt and a sweater. He looked just like her, but he again felt like he wasn't good enough. Also, his face was so simple. It needed a little bit of makeup like she wore. He realized that the local superstore was open all the time. He could go out and get what he needed right now. He went to the closet and got his coat. It was in the style of a trench coat, which he wore to work with his suits. As it turned out, the coat covered the skirt, so no one would have known that he was cross-dressing, but it never occurred to him. He was so eager to get to the store that he just grabbed the first coat he saw. When he got to the store, he got a shopping cart and went straight to the women's clothes section. He grabbed a pair of nylons to match the color of Alyssa's natural legs. Next, he chose a package of Hanes her-way ties, which had soft white cotton fibers and a nice shape. The makeup department came next. There were a few all-in-one kits that came in a cool bag with clear plastic sides. It's like a lunchbox, but it's full of all kinds of treats. He grabbed it because he thought it would save him from having to dig through piles of makeup without knowing what to get. He also grabbed the most expensive bottle of perfume, hoping against hope that it would smell like her. He didn't even know enough to try the tester at the counter. He was about to go to the cash register when he saw the shoes. He took a look at all the cool shoes for women. Men didn't have much to choose from when it came to shoes. There were only a few styles in black or brown. Women, on the other hand, had a wide range of styles, heel heights, and colors to choose from, cool shoes with pointy toes and different shapes. They had so many options that it was amazing. He couldn't stop looking at a pair of red pumps, so he dug through the boxes to find the biggest size they had. He knew that women's and men's shoe sizes were different, but he didn't know how to go between them. As he walked down the aisle, he saw some cute little stuffed teddy bears and cats in the toy section. Things like that were on Alyssa's bed, so he picked out the cutest ones he could find. Gary went to get some mouthwash because he was almost out of it when he got to the next department. He saw the section for women's care at the end of the aisle. He thought it would be a good idea to buy some of the things she would need if she came over. He just felt like he needed some of them around the house anyway. He grabbed a summer's eve douche, some always panty liners, and some tampons. He needed deodorant, so he chose some girly ones. He took some of the women's shavers with the hope that they would do a better job of shaving his legs the next time. Gary's shopping cart was full, and since it was late, he was tired. He finally got to the cash register, but before he paid, he grabbed a few women's magazines from the stand next to it. If she read Cosmo, Redbook, and Glamour, he should as well. After getting all the bags inside, Gary put everything out on his bed and put on everything he bought. He put on the pantyhose, but they fell down because he didn't know to roll up each leg before pulling from the top. He could always go back to the store, though. He could get by for now because the run wasn't too bad. He felt better about himself as he stood in front of the mirror. He took the makeup kit from the table and went to the bathroom. First, he put down a base layer. The makeup filled his face's pores, making a soft mask around him. Once it was dry, he put some red on his cheeks to start. He did a terrible job. In some places there were big globs, but in other places there were almost none. He used a brush to try to smooth it out, but it didn't work. He would just take it off and try again later. Next, he worked on his eyes, putting blue on the lids and brown and red under the arch of his eyebrows. Just look at how thick his eyebrows were. He got the razor out and tried to cut away some of the extra hair, but he finally had to use tweezers to pull out some of the hairs. Ouch, it stung, but if she did it, he could do it too. Once he was happy with how thin his eyebrows were, he put mascara on his eyelashes. He also wasn't good at that, and the result was clumpy. Some hairs were stuck together, while others had very little covering. He did better with the lipstick, but when he looked in the mirror, he saw that he had chosen a red that was way too bright for his face. He would need one that wasn't too bright, maybe in the maroon range. Then he realized, oh, duh! The special makeover issue of Cosmo came out this month. He picked it up and read it for an hour, paying close attention to how to use different techniques and bring out different parts of a face. He took off his makeup with some isopropyl alcohol and cotton balls he had in the cabinet and tried again. He did much better the second time, even though his inexperience and cheap makeup made the job harder. He realized that if he wanted to do this right, he would have to go to a higher-end department store and buy the good stuff. He tried painting his nails a bright red color this time. He did a great job, so after 2 coats and some clear coat, his nails looked great. This was good news. He sprayed himself with the perfume and sighed in happiness when he realized it smelled like her. It was so beautiful, with a light floral touch that wasn't too much. Gary went to the bedroom and took the shoes out of the box. Even though his feet were a bit too big, he was able to get them on. It was very tight, and his feet were much wider than the shoes. But if she could wear shoes like that, there was nothing that could stop him. He had to learn how to walk in pumps for the next half hour. It was a big change. He was hanging on by a thread and almost fell several times. But after doing it for a while, he got good at it. It was 4 a.m., and Gary was too tired to move. He called his work number and left a message saying that he was sick and would not be coming in that morning. Before taking off his shoes, he took off his makeup and sat down for a minute to stretch on the couch. That was a mistake because within 30 seconds, he was fast asleep. Gary spent the next few days practicing and learning more about how to put on makeup, wear clothes, and walk in high-heel shoes. He wrote down the brands and sizes of Alyssa's clothes and went to the mall to buy new ones. Everything she gave him, he found it in a new form. He also bought some high-end makeup at department stores and a few outfits for himself, all of which matched her style. He talked to her every night on the phone. He felt like he knew her so well. By the end of the week, they sounded like old friends when they talked on the phone, and he was getting very good at getting dressed and putting on makeup. He would dress up and talk to her on the phone. He thought he was getting better. He found a store that specialized in big women's shoes, and he bought a few pairs so he would have a choice that would go with whatever he wore that day. He was tired of his short hair, so he bought a nice brown wig with long hair that reached just below his shoulders. He made sure to style it in a way that didn't hide his new earrings. He brushed his hair back with his hand, which was smoother than usual thanks to the hand cream he used every day. He also saw that his hands looked better after he switched to press-on nails. It would be a while before his own nails were long enough to make him happy. He grabbed his purse, made sure he had his lipstick, and went out to his car. The cold wind under his girl clothes sent shivers all the way up and down his back. When Alyssa came over that night, he was going out to get more flowers, some wine, and veggies to cook for dinner. She was going to be blown away. He worked hard and really improved the look of his house, quite a bit more like hers. After the grocery store and the wine barrel, he went to the cleaners one last time to get the clothes he had left there. He wanted to show off how well he picked out clothes. Alyssa rang the doorbell at 7:30, right on time. Gary did one last check of his makeup, flipped his hair back, and walked to the door. He smiled at her and said, "Hello, girlfriend." His darkened lips made his white teeth stand out even more. It turned out that he was right, and that maroon looked best on his face. "Hello?" Alyssa said, a little unsure of what had happened. There he was, falling into femininity. "So I was right," she said. "I could just tell from your eyes you wanted to dress like a girl. Glad I could help you with becoming who you really are. Let me help you even more with your femininity." Thanks for watching. The rest is only available on Patreon. Be sure to check it out. If not, hope you enjoyed.